Burning Question, presented by Nissan Magnite, powered by Amity University, NECC, NetMeds and Century Ply.
Government goes all out to stop the mayhem, announces reservations in several ministries, departments for Agnipath. It's on cam. Kids say they were paid to participate in misinformed and provoked protests in Patna. Chilling visuals from Aurangabad, where protesters, vandals, are seen attacking students in a school, pelting stones at a school. Vandalism in Ludhiana caught on tape. The proof is out. Watch how vandals terrorized passengers, destroyed everything in their way. A Congress leader in Jharkhand and MLA issues threat over Agnipath scheme, says there will be bloodshed in India. Rajasthan's Ashok Gehlot cabinet has unanimously passed a resolution seeking withdrawal of the Agnipath scheme. And on the burning question, after what the government has done in the last 2 days, by relaxing the age limit and by announcing reservations in different ministries and in central armed police forces, will these protests continue? And should they continue, especially now when it's proven that they were engineered? Take a look at these pictures and you'll understand why we are calling it engineered.
खतरों से आंखें मिलाने का हो जुनून, ऐसे हैं भारत के वीर जवान.
In view of the dissatisfaction over the proposed Agnipath scheme, the government made several big announcements to allay the fears of the young aspirants. Age bar is raised, employment fears are allayed, job reservations are confirmed.
जो एक स्वर्णिम कल से सजे, तमगे बढ़ाएं सीने की शान.
With top officials also issuing assurances.
Agnipath scheme for enrollment in the armed forces. The age bracket for the scheme is 17.5 to 21 years. I am pleased to announce that the upper age limit for the first induction has been increased to 23 years of age. This change would permit a larger section of the youth to enroll as Agnipaths.
But the protests, violence and arson continue. From Ludhiana to Sikandrabad to Balia to Patna, trains were torched, public and private property was destroyed. And even a school in Bihar was not spared by the stone pelters. And while appeals were made against the violence,
मैं बताना चाहता हूं अपने युवा साथियों को कि आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी पर भरोसा रखना चाहिए. उन्होंने जिस तरीके से देश की सेवा की है और आगे चल करके ये अग्निपथ से निकला हुआ अग्निवीर दुनिया में अपने आप को स्थापित करते हुए देश रक्षा के लिए हमेशा जाना जाएगा. इस बात को भी हमको समझना चाहिए.
there were some who spewed venom and issued threats.
आज आप देश की सेना को बेचने जा रहे हैं. इसका आक्रोश आज हमारे तमाम युवाओं के साथ है. आप देख लीजिए, आप लोग युवा सड़क पर है और मैं कहना चाहता हूँ किसी कीमत पर हम लोग ये अग्निपथ, देश होगा खून से लथपथ, लेकिन ये अग्निपथ हम लोग नहीं होने देंगे.
CCTV footages, WhatsApp chats, audio messages have emerged indicating that the protest may not have been spontaneous.
ఎంతసేపు వరుతారా ఒర్రి నొర్రులు వస్తాయి. అందుకే గమ్మును పోయి పెట్రోల్ తీసుకొచ్చి తగలబెట్టేసినాం అనుకో బయటికి పోతుంది న్యూస్. అంతేగాని ఎంతసేపు వరినా ఎంతసేపు బ్యానర్లు చూపించినా ఎంత మొత్తుకున్నా ఏం అవ్వదు. ఇంకొక రెండు గంటలో ఒక గంటలా స్క్వాడ్ వస్తుంది, అందరిని వెళ్ళింటారు మొత్తం. అందుకే పోయి పెట్రోల్ పంప్ పోయి పెట్రోల్ తీసుకొని వస్తే మొత్తం తగలబెట్టచ్చు 2 నిమిషాలల్లా.
And even children were used in this nefarious plot.
पप्पू यादव का फोटो लिए हुए बाबू कहाँ है हो?
आए पप्पू दा मुझे जिताने के लिए पैसा दिए फिर का चलो हमारे संग का चलो.
कितना पैसा पे? कितना पैसा दिए?
100 रुपया.
100 और क्या दिए?
और खाने के लिए चीज.
तुमको कितना पैसा?
हमको 100 रुपया.
कौन दिया?
पप्पू यादव.
Despite several announcements allaying fears of the aspirants, why are the protests still going on? And are these really the aspirants? What are they protesting now? And who's provoking them? Let's debate.
And joining us on the debate this evening, Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP, Major General G.D. Bakshi, defence expert, Abhijit Iyer Mitra, writer, defence expert, Patikrit Payne, political analyst, Riju Datta, spokesman of the TMC, Zeba Yasmin, who is a national spokesperson for the Samajwadi Party, Bachchu Srinivas, spokesperson for the TRS, Vikraman, spokesperson for the VCK. I want to start with General G.D. Bakshi on top of the show, and anybody can respond to him. General Bakshi, you had some questions, but we've been reporting through the day, and it appears that those who were on the streets, 99.99% were not aspirants, General Bakshi. They were vandals, and this was planned. Children were being paid, used, stones pelted at schools, school vans torched, and there are videos emerging. Look at that, sir. Those are children running out of a school in Aurangabad district of Bihar. And these pelters, these vandals, pelted stones at a school. And political parties are hiring children, the poorest of the poor in Patna, giving them 100 rupees to come out on the streets. And then you had at least 7 to 8 trains gutted. The losses are in excess, we are told, of 300 to 400 crore rupees. And it just goes on and on. I'm not sure that these were real aspirants. And there are tapes that we have from Sekandrabad. And these tapes show people saying that forces will come. You have exactly 2 hours to burn down everything by petrol. Some of those who are involved have been arrested. I mean, there is a great element of planning. And the government has gone all out. So let me come back to the subject and get your views, General Bakshi. The government has made announcements. We have all the details of the announcements. I'll get your views on this, and let's get started with the debate. General Bakshi.
Thank you, Narayan. Narayan, first of all, let me be absolutely forthright and candid. There is no place for people who burn government property, who carry out arson and looting in the armed forces. We are not about to give them weapons. If this is their mindset, they might as well stay well clear of the armed forces. My advice to those sincere aspirants is, beta, please don't ruin your chances of joining the armed forces, serving the country with honor by getting police cases against you, because those police cases will kill your chances of joining the armed forces. The armed forces are a disciplined profession, highly disciplined. They protect property, they protect people, they don't burn trains, they don't attack our infrastructure, they safeguard it. Right? Now that having been said, I don't think I could be more clear. I think the government has shown sensitivity to genuine concerns. Number of things have been tweaked. This is an across-the-board transformative paradigm shift in the nature of the forces. Now what I would humbly like to say is that, previously the short service was a support cadre. Now almost the entire, men in the armed forces will be short service. So this is a major paradigm shift. Such a change has to be managed. The communication for this has to be managed very, very carefully so that we have no misperceptions, so that we have no misunderstandings which can be exploited to whip up emotions. Firstly, I am not at all sure whether the genuine aspirants are involved. The evidence coming in is quite to the contrary. I have interacted. The way to do it is, I as a responsible military veteran, there is no question of a military veteran picking up the stone or trying to do something stupid. The way to go about it is to discuss, to debate, to put across points, to put constructive suggestions. I did that yesterday. I've had almost a 2-hour session with those of my professional colleagues who are now in service and who are tasked with ushering in this change. They have genuine concerns. The nation must listen to them. In Ladakh, it was found that our older people, please understand, our older soldiers, they had problems in the high altitude. That is natural. It is physiological. You need a younger profile to fight in Ladakh, in Kargil, etc., Arunachal Pradesh, etc. You need a younger profile. They are trying to get a younger profile, right?
Yes.
Then there is the question that because of the rise in the pay and pension bills, our revenue budget has gone up, our capital budget has come down. Therefore, we are not able to acquire the military hardware.
Yes.
Let me give you an example. The Air Force, we need 45 squadrons. 45 squadrons, today we have less than 30. From somewhere this money has to be found. May not be the best way of doing it, but this is one way, right? Now, I have certain constructive suggestions to offer. When I joined the army in the 71 war, we took part in that war. The color service of the Jawan was 7 years, precisely to maintain a youthful profile. 4 years, to my mind, may be too short a period for the boy to integrate, for the boy to be adequately trained, and for the army to make use of him, or the Air Force or Navy to make use of him before he again demits the uniform. Please go back to 7 years color service kind of a scheme.
Yeah.
Instead of 4 years, make it 7. Half your problems will be overcome.
Yeah.
Second, the government has now come out post the agitation with a slew of correctives, or with a slew of how to make a second career more, transference to the paramilitary forces, transference, lateral induction to CISF, CRPF, BSF, ITBP, etc., as also as the Defence Minister Rajnath Singh ji has announced today.
Yeah.
Firstly, age up to 23. Number 2, in the defence civilian environment, in the 16 public sector enterprises, etc., a whole lot of them. You know, a lot of the fears, apprehensions would be allayed if you induct, if you
Yes.
have an act of parliament which lays it down, so that tomorrow, if there is a change in government, nobody can go back on these
Yeah.
assurances. Lastly, you may consider a transition period in which the old scheme and the new scheme go on till
Yeah.
the 1,50,000 to 60,000, shortages in the armed forces, which
Yeah.
were caused by 2 years of no recruitment, are made up, right? For example, those people who before COVID had been selected, if they had cleared all tests, physical, educational, etc., then let's not go back on them, because that would it's no fault of theirs. They could be taken into the armed forces to honor
Yes.
the test process that they did. It was done by the armed forces, right? So I have some constructive suggestions to offer, which I'm sure will be given their consideration. my simple appeal is, that is the way to go about it. Not start destroying government property, not start attacking our infrastructure, especially towards the very vulnerable east and northeast. We can't afford that.
Yeah, that was my next question.
To suspect that there are people, there are countries who are unhappy with the nation-centric stand this country has taken in the Russia-Ukraine crisis.
Yeah.
And they are now trying to make sure that every single excuse is exploited.
Yeah, General Bakshi, some of the points that you touched upon, I think, have been addressed. For example, you spoke about you spoke about some of the concerns, especially post the tenure. I think the government is now trying to sort of go and address some of those concerns. In the last 2 days, we've seen some announcements made. I have a list of announcements that were made in my hand. But before I get into that, let me get in. There is a way. Even someone who's constructively trying to say that there needs to be some more answers given. Why are political parties jumping the gun and fueling some of the protests? For example, let me get into Trinamool Congress. Even though the Trinamool Congress, it does not agree with everything that the Congress party does, but there is a Congress leader, for example, who says there will be bloodshed across India. Now, at the local level, there are many political parties who are slowly and silently doing this, Riju. They're doing it. But why are political parties doing it? Why don't you come to the table or constructively try to, take this up with the government?
Right. Thank you, Niranjan. I think I was hearing General Bakshi very clearly, and I think he has given more clarity on Agnipath than BJP government has done in the last 72 hours. Anyways, but you asked me why the government and why the other political parties are not discussing. Because schemes after schemes, post-2014 BJP has made a mockery of people's life. Did they have a discussion with the stakeholders? No. Did they have a discussion with the opposition parties? No. Did they have a discussion with General V.K. Singh, who is a part of their cabinet, who can give more light to it than any of those ministers there? No. Did they have a pilot project? No. They have just launched a scheme, Agnipath. They have turned Agniveers into Krantiveers, and they have turned India into Panipat now. Why is this happening? Because
there was a consultative process, Riju.
On the streets. Where will the union government give jobs?
Riju, there was
I'm asking one question.
I think tri-service
is all about giving jobs.
May I please
let me finish.
Okay, I'll give you 10 more seconds and I'll let Sanju Verma come in. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, in 2020, the armed forces declared that they had a vacancy of 2.47 lakh people. That was never filled up. Now suddenly this has come up. An armed forces cannot be an internship program. A soldier cannot be part-time. My father was a part of the Short Service Commission, but they were in the second line of defense. Now you are planning to enroll soldiers and put them in the front of the battle to protect our motherland with enemies like China and Pakistan in 4 years. What will you do after 4 years? What will you do after 4 years?
Okay,
there is no clarity. Youth are jobless in this country.
No, but are you saying all the announcements are not clarity? 10% reservation in CAPF, Assam Rifles, Defense Ministry, Civil Aviation Ministry. Okay, Sanju's responding.
Sanju. When you have you should then BJP should come out clearly and say we have these reservations. Then if you have these reservations, you fill up those posts. It is all about cost cutting. It is all about paisa bachana for elections. They are trying to get money out of the armed forces now for the election purposes.
Niranjan, you will have to moderate and you will have to ask this man to keep quiet.
Yeah, he's let you speak. He's yielded. Please go on.
Yeah. Now I need to make a few points without being interrupted. First and foremost, General G.D. Bakshi has made some pertinent points, and I'm sure this government, which is always open to constructive criticism, will take some of the points that he has made a mention of on board. Point number 2, be it the Armed Forces Chief, Mr. Manoj Pandey, be it Admiral R. Hari Kumar, who was there on your channel and said as much, or be it Air Chief Marshal, Mr. V.R. Chaudhary. All the 3 service chiefs have said that for the last 2 years, there has been a consultative process which has been in the offing, and the key stakeholders from the 3 services were in the know of things. So to say that the BJP government unilaterally took a decision without taking into confidence the stakeholders is a whole lot of hogwash. Point number 2, I don't think the BJP needs to take lessons from the TMC or the Congress and defense management, because don't forget that it is the BJP which brought in OROP. More than 47,600 crores has been spent on OROP, benefiting more than 27 lakh people, including pensioners in the army. It is the BJP government which increased the defense outlay to 5.25 lakh crore this year. Under the aegis of the Congress, it never crossed 1.93 lakh crore, which is the government which is saying that on a war footing, Sainik schools will induct women, young girls. It is the BJP government, which is the government which said that more than 30% of the NCC cadets in coastal and border areas will be women. It is the BJP government. So please don't come here and give a bhashan to the BJP on how to manage the defense-related paradigm as far as national security of the country is concerned. We have walked the talk. We don't need armchair critics to be giving us unsolicited
No, I just want to ask one simple question.
And I want to say one more thing.
Sumanji is throwing out names. I just want to ask this. Ask you this, madam. Madam, I have heard you for 2 minutes. I have heard you for 2 minutes. Can you answer one small question I want to ask you?
Okay,
I want to ask you a small question.
Let's have an informed debate. Okay, give her 10 more seconds. No, give her 10 more seconds. Give her 10 more seconds, and then you can ask her the question. I'll give you a chance to ask her a question. Give her 10 seconds. Riju, give her 10 seconds. Give her 10 seconds.
20 seconds to finish. I need 20 seconds to
okay,
finish.
20 seconds. Go on.
I need 20 seconds to finish.
You cannot give
I said 20 seconds.
Is this.
20 seconds.
The
Yeah.
most
Okay, go ahead.
the most important point is this quickly. Will Agnipath make the armed forces leaner, meaner, more competitive? Yes. Are we leaving the Jawan high and dry after 4 years? No. Tell me at the age of 21, 22, how many people in this country can say that they will get an insurance cover of 48 lakhs, a lump sum kitty of close to 12 lakhs, preference in various government
Okay, I have to bring the other
jobs,
panelists in.
Assam rifles.
Okay, I want to bring the other panelists in. Riju, quickly. I want to bring the other panelists in.
Yeah,
okay.
With these fringe elements.
Okay. Immediate. Okay, jaldi ask your question. Ask your question. I need to get the others in. Riju.
Yes, my question is when the BJP lies through the skin of the teeth, this proposal was tabled in front of late CDS Shri Bipin Rawat ji, and he rejected this proposal. Then why did you implement it now, and why did he reject? Can they answer that? Can they answer that? It is about cost cutting the defense.
No, 1 second,
It is
1
about
second.
cost cutting the armed forces. It is nothing else. They said one rank, one pension. Now there is no rank, no pension. They want a contractual army. That is the reality of this project. If they are giving reservations, then they have empty spaces. Why then the recruit soldiers?
Harebrained stories.
Why do not they recruit soldiers then?
No, 1 minute.
Soldiers.
1 minute. 1 minute.
It's a lifestyle.
No. 1 second. Don't speak over each other. Don't speak over each other. Many people want answers. Please don't speak over each other. That's my request. 1 minute. I see the TRS spokesman.
Current Air Chief Marshal and the current Armed Forces Chief.
Sanju, 1 minute. Sanju, let me get the others in. I'm coming back to you. Sanju, let me get the others in. I'm coming back to you. Let me come back to you. Abhijit, I'll bring in Abhijit Iyer Mitra, and then I'll go across to the TRS spokesman, Bachu Srinivas. Okay? My question is, Abhijit, to a point that the TMC made, that the late CDS was against this idea. I'm not sure that's factually correct, because we had services chiefs who've gone on record to say this process has been on and he wanted this. And secondly, this is something that most experts, and I have details of how the Kargil Review Committee report, we broke details of it yesterday. The Kargil Review Committee report in 1999, which is also parts of which it is in the public. It said the army must be fit and young. Present practice of 17 years of colour service should be cut down. They suggested 7 to 10 years. They also wanted, after the service, for these officers to be released into the country's paramilitary formations, which is happening as per Agnipath. It also spoke of how older cadres may be further streamed into regular police forces, which is also happening. Spoke about cutting the age profile of the army, reducing the age profile of the army, which is happening. Do you think these assurances are being given? You think they should answer the opposition? You think there's an attempt to mislead people on this?
Look, let's be clear about one thing. There isn't much clarity What clarity we're getting in drips and sobs slowly. But I think it's very fair to say that Bipin Rawat, whether he opposed it or supported it, we don't know, we will never know. So to come to any kind of decision saying that he either supported it or opposed it is just plain wrong. And I think it's just quite graceless to use a dead man's name to, further a political point, number one. Let's deal with this on the merits of the case. Is the policy perfect? No. No policy is ever 100% perfect, but it is a very good policy. Remember, the problem is we have a very high toe-to-tail ratio. We needed to reduce that, and this was a fantastic way of reducing it. I think General Bakshi nailed it on the head when he said the only real problem with this policy is the fact that 4 years is probably too short. It needs to be about 7 to 8 years maximum, no more than that, the way it was once upon a time. After which, remember, you are getting essentially what you're putting these people through is on-the-job training. It's overcoming the deficiencies of the Indian learn-by-rote education system by training them on the job. It is making them employable. It is giving them basic engineering skills, toolkit skills, solving skills, all kinds of workplace skills, after which you become much more desirable and employable, and particularly desirable to any employer, because the amount of training they have to do with green recruits is hideously expensive. Now, it would have helped had there been the semblance of some kind of a public consultation process, because remember, a public consultation is very seldom about actually public consultation. It's more an intelligence gauging to see where the fault lines lie. And this keeps going wrong every time with this government, which it really needs to introspect, number one. Number two, they've come out with these very good schemes to induct everybody's reserving 10%, which is the way it should be. Police, CRPF, I don't know, you read out the list of everybody. These are people already trained in weapons. They are trained in the laws of the use of force and things like that. Reducing the burden on states, reducing the further duplication burden on every section of government, every section of law keeping, where they get integrated with civil society. Now, remember, there is a fundamental, this is the point General Bakshi made. You need young people between 17 and 27 who are hot-blooded, who will shoot first and ask questions later in the military. Policing requires a different skill. It requires a certain maturity where you need to have the courage to hold your gun, and that is why you transition them into the police later on. This is the first attempt we've had in this country to formalize that kind of a transition. This is also the first real attempt we've had. I personally feel, that this is a beginning of the sequencing of the scaling down of the armed forces and increasing their training and equipment levels. Because as you know, the capital budget is extremely eroded in this country. We really need to start focusing on things that win the war. So it's the beginning of something. I think taking it down a pointless route, It is different. The policy is a very good policy. How the government has dealt with it, big question mark. That's not for me to say, that's for them to introspect.
Yeah, but the violence, Mr. Bachchu Srinivas, the violence in Secunderabad, and there is so much, I'm sure you've seen parts of it. People saying, get petrol, you have few minutes to burn everything down. All of this is being circulated openly, in Telangana and in Secunderabad. I'd like to get your response to it. Who let it happen? How did it happen all of a sudden, Mr. Srinivas?
No, that's only yesterday the police people, the DCP of Secunderabad Railway Police, they openly stated that she has given a statement. It is by the police people. Nobody never expected such an incident is going to happen. Within fraction of minutes, people have come into the station and they tried this kind of situation, and we condemn this. There are a lot of ways to protect. We have seen the 14 years of tea movement, which was very live when we separated the Telangana, and in this way we never accept this kind of protest. And we request the people who would like to join in the army, who want to protect, such kind of protects are not accepted, and they can protect in different ways first. And in this system, in Agniveers, everybody is questioning. The main thing is, wherever it is going in all over the globe, it is a failure system. Even in America, in Vietnam, somewhere in Israel, even in Ukraine today. why Ukraine is still struggling against Russia. It is dedicatedly people are working. If it is 4 years, it is restricted to 4 years. They cannot dedicatedly serve the nation. They cannot be in a passion. People who are having the passion, they will join in the army. If they feel that it is only the
I'll let Pathikrit respond to that. He wants to respond to you. Pathikrit is nodding. Yeah, Pathikrit.
Yeah, let me.
Okay, I'll give you 10 seconds. 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
10
Go
seconds.
ahead.
See, yesterday it is happened all over the nation, from north part to southern, South India, and immediately today there are changes have come in this national government.
Yes, Pathikrit, go ahead. Pathikrit responding to you now, sir.
First of all, these protests are not spontaneous.
They are not spontaneous.
They targeted Indian Railways. Because Indian Railways is owned by the central government, they were not attacking the state secretariat. They were not attacking the state administrative buildings. Number two, there was enormous amount of information in social media that something is going to happen.
Planning?
Niranjan, the weakest link of India today, is the failure of the state governments to counter organized mob violence. And let me tell you, army or armed forces is a very purely technical thing. So I think with due respect, people should comment with a lot of knowledge in this. Number one, it is not getting into a contract thing with due respect, Riju. It's a 50-50 ratio between experience and young blood. Secondly, in a network-centric, technology-driven, non-contact warfare, which will be beyond visual range in this era, you do not require that kind of manpower with huge repository of personnel that we had. So that reformation was supposed to happen. It is challenging. There is no doubt about it. I'll give you an example. Niranjan, the cost of 36 Rafale was 59,000 crore. What is the average pension bill of India for armed forces? It is 1,20,000 crore plus, which means imagine as Vijit was mentioning about the head-to-tail ratio. Now, you can have questions. I had certain, issues. I wrote directly to the government through certain channels. I mentioned, as also echoed by Vijit, that when it comes to short service commission, it is a 5+5+4 option, right? So you have an option of a follow-on of 5 years more service and then 4. Ideally, I would have also preferred it should be 4+4+2, because in 4 years, you may not be able to extract and leverage the expenditure of the investment that you make in technical training of the armed forces personnel. For example, somebody who is trained in repairing a Sukhoi aircraft, a radar fitter or a weapons fitter, 4 years may not be maximum. The other thing is that, today it is for this Agniveer. Last week it was for something else. Question is, we know there are these hybrid war, vested interest doing it. What happens? We know. I mean, if somebody is trying to burn down a train, Niranjan, if somebody is trying to burn down a train filled with passengers, how is it less than a terror attack? And why should they be treated with kid glove? And for how long are we to continue tolerating it week after week after week in the name of, let's not escalate it by retaliation? So something has to be done. Critical infrastructure, railways is India's most critical transport infrastructure. You want to hit it, you want to destroy it, and then
that was going to be my next question, Pathikrit. That was my next question to the Samajwadi Party and VCK, both of them who are raising their hands there. Is it a coincidence that, in all of these states where violence was seen, right, where trains were burned, is it a coincidence that railway stations were targeted? Is it a coincidence that trains were burned down in so many states? How is it possible that trains were targeted specifically?
Aggrieved youngsters who had been waiting for their jobs, who had been waiting after their physical had been done.
Why go to train stations?
Resorting to such things. See, that is going to affect the union government. That is why they're resorting to such measures.
How do you know that?
My question to Sanju Verma of BJP.
Vikraman, how are you so sure?
Simple question.
How are you so sure about their choice of going to railway stations?
Because they know pretty well this BJP government is playing with their lives. It is playing with army, it is playing with the defense of this country, it is playing with the future of these youngsters.
Are you justifying the violence?
I am not justifying any of the violence, but the union government is totally responsible for this failure of the law and order machinery in such states. This union government should have been very cautious before announcing such decisions. So my question is, what will happen to the youngsters?
One second.
Let me talk. Yeah, you are not giving me any option.
I can't see you on the screen there. I'm just trying to figure you out. I think we missed a punch you on the screen. 1 minute.
Pardon me?
I can't see you on the screen. Okay, you're back now. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, what were you saying?
So I have a simple question with some curiosity to Sanju Verma, who belongs to the BJP. So my question is, what will happen to the lakhs and lakhs of youngsters who had finished their physical examination in CEE and they are waiting for the recruitment for the past 2 years? What will happen to them? And you are only saying that, finish, I'll finish it. And you are promising them 10% reservation in other, border security force, CRPF and other police forces. My question is, if he is rejected in army, the rejected army person, how is he eligible for other police forces? And the police forces is a state subject. How can you give priority to somebody?
One second. How is he going to be rejected? One second.
I'm not. Yeah, 75% of people who have been inducted.
No.
Only 25 people percentage.
That's what they call Agniveers. No, one minute.
Scheme.
Vikram, on which part of it haven't you understood? One second. Abhijit is saying something. Abhijit, how are they not rejected?
They are inducted.
They're inducted. Abhijit is saying something to you. Abhijit.
They're going to
Abhijit, I'm coming to you.
Sanju,
I'm coming to you. Abhijit.
No.
Abhijit.
Let me finish it. Let me finish it.
This is constant false information being given.
Yeah.
I think this gentleman really needs to read up, because you're peddling outright falsehoods.
Let me ask the question.
Outright falsehoods.
Yes.
No.
These people are not being rejected.
Only 25% is going to be inducted in the army. The 75% of youngsters are going to be thrown out from the army.
No. One second. Hold on. No, I need to come in. No, 1 second. Vikraman, please. Vikraman, there's enough confusion. Please don't say the... What do you mean they'll be thrown out of the army? Vikraman, for God's sake, be a little... No, 1 second. Be a little measured. This is... No, this is a prime time... No, I will... Vikraman, I will not let you do that. Vikraman, it's not fair. Vikraman, it's not fair. It's not fair. No, it's not fair. No, you please be... Watch your language.
No.
Watch your language. Choose your words carefully. Choose your words carefully. No, don't. Choose your words carefully. Choose your words carefully. You're being irresponsible, Vikraman. Vikraman, Vikraman, no. Vikraman, you're being irresponsible. You're being irresponsible. Please don't do that. Don't do that. No, I can't let you go on and on. No, you can't say they're being... That's false. No, that's wrong. 1 minute, let me read out. No, Vikraman, don't go on and on. 1 minute, let me speak. 1 minute, don't go on and on. First of all, they're called Agniveers for a reason. Once they enter the Agnipath scheme, they're called Agniveers. Nobody's thrown out of the army, so please take that back. That's a factual mistake. Don't pass off. Don't fearmonger on the show. No. You can't just say anything and get away. I'm sorry, I'll have to correct you there. You can't. Let Sanju respond to you. But have patience to listen to her. Have patience to listen to her. Have patience to listen to her. Have patience. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Have patience.
You asked the question. Now, please let me respond. Niranjan, I'm very clear about it. Whether it is violence in Telangana, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, Delhi, Rajasthan, the respective state governments need to crack the whip and need to be held accountable, because law and order is the state subject. So I'm not sitting there and saying that the Bihar government, because BJP is in power there in alliance with JDU, should be engaging in putti-putting, but Telangana should crack the whip. I think people who engage in destruction of public property, they should be brought to book with no ifs or buts whatsoever. The one good thing that this entire violence, and sorry to say that, there's no better way of putting it, it has showcased, it has exposed the fact that this protest was not organic. Look at the WhatsApp chat where they are saying, Thane ko aag laga do, police chowki ko
Ma'am, answer my question.
So
nobody answers the question in this debate.
I'm coming to your question.
She keeps...
No,
you keep running around.
Quiet. You engaged in a monologue.
Okay, I have a responsibility. 1 minute, Sanju, I have a responsibility. 1 minute. Okay, 1 minute. I have a responsibility to come in with facts. 1 minute. I have a responsibility to come in with facts. Okay, because you asked about the 75%, and don't say they are being rejected. That's extremely irresponsible of you to say that. But they are Agniveers. 1 minute. No, it's my responsibility to come in with facts. I'm coming in with facts. I'm reading out something. It's okay. Let me get all the panelists on air. Let me get all the panelists on there, and I want to read this out. 1 minute. I see General Bakshi raising it, but I want to go across to Samajwadi Party spokesman. General Bakshi, I'm coming to you after the Samajwadi Party spokesman speaks. With some... No, here, wait. I'm here. I'm giving you answers. You want answers, I'll give you answers, okay? Defense Ministry reserving 10%. 1 minute. Sanju, please, I have a responsibility right now to come in with facts, please. I have all the facts in my hand. Everything, each one of them. Defence Ministry reserving 10% posts in Coast Guard Defence PSUs for Agniveers. 2 years relaxation for recruitment of Agniveers in the first year. No, you hear me out. Don't get scared. When I start speaking with facts, you try and interrupt. Don't do that. Don't do that. I gave you your time. Vikraman, I gave you your time. Home Ministry reserving 10% vacancies for recruitment in CAPFs and Assam Rifles for Agniveers. Don't interrupt. Don't interrupt. State governments have announced preference to Agniveers in state police recruitment. MHA giving 3 years age relaxation beyond prescribed upper age. Employment opportunities in Merchant Navy for Agniveers from Indian Navy. 1 second. Hold on. Announcements made. No, I will not let you go on and on. Announcements. I have a responsibility to put the facts on air. I have a responsibility to put the facts on the table. Civil Aviation Ministry, Defence Ministry, Shipping Ministry have gone on record to say that Agniveers will be given preference. And do you know, Vikraman, quiz question. Okay, quiz question. Do you know, can I ask you a question? Do you know how many Central Armed Police Forces, do you know how many Central Armed Police personnel? No, you have the courage to hear me out because I want to,
other defense forces.
you hear me out, Vikraman. Vikraman, why don't you answer my question? Do you know, and let me get all panelists on screen. Anybody can answer my question. Anybody. Do you know how many Central Armed Police Forces across India are recruited in a year?
Sir, you are not
answer my question. Do you know?
You are not answering
Do
my
you know?
question.
No, you asked a question. I'm giving you the answer. Do you know that?
That is none of my business.
No, it is your business. It is your business because you said they're being rejected and they won't get a job. What do you mean it's none of your business? It is your business.
I belong to the state
No, 1 minute.
Not the union
1 minute. I want to. The Samajwadi Party spokesman hasn't come in. No, you're doing disservice. Don't do that, Vikraman. Vikraman, please. There's enough violence everywhere. Please, let's not confuse people. Let's not confuse people, Vikraman. It's not needed. It's not needed. It's not needed. Confusion is not needed. Not needed. Not needed. Confusion is not needed. Confusion is not needed. I want to bring in Patikrit. Patikrit wanted to come in. Hold on. I am not supporting BJP, boss. I don't want any violence. Okay, you want to confuse people, you can do that. You want to confuse people. You want to confuse people in your own state, you do that. But please don't do that on national television. Okay, I have a responsibility to come in with facts. General Bakshi is coming in. You asked General Bakshi. You used a few terms. Let General Bakshi respond to you. You used a few terms. Let General Bakshi respond to you. General Bakshi.
So you don't have the answer.
No, wait.
Bakshi. Let me hear from General Bakshi.
Don't interrupt him. Let General Bakshi finish.
Look, I'm once again stating that burning of the nation's infrastructure, destruction of trains, public property, police stations are acts of deliberate terrorism. Right? Any people indulging in these, if they claim to be aspirants to the defense forces, let me tell you, we don't need people who burn trains. We need people who will protect trains and government property. Please, let's get that clear and out of the way. Whatever be your grievance, you have no business burning public property. Now, that having been said, I'd like to say one thing, that the focus here is more on the second career of the Agniveers. My humble request is that the army needs people to focus on their first career, right? The military is a vital job profile. This protects the country, protects you and me. It can't be secondary consideration, and the primary consideration cannot be the resettlement of people across various other this thing. That is why I am humbly recommending a 7 years color service kind of an equivalent. From 4 years, raise it to 7 years. More than 90% of your problems will be taken care of. This is a tried and tested model which worked well in the 71 war, your greatest victory.
Okay, I want to bring in the Samajwadi Party spokesman, General Bakshi.
To please have a national manpower policy.
Got it, sir. Yeah.
And sorry, I'll just finish in 30 seconds. A national manpower policy wherein people from the armed forces graduate after retirement, go to the paramilitary forces, the CPOs. Unfortunately, because of turf wars, that has not happened so far. A most logical national manpower policy has not been allowed to function so far because of pure considerations of turf.
Yeah.
Each organization protecting its own turf at the cost of.
But why burn trains is my question.
Good.
Samajwadi Party
to institutionalize it.
Sir, to Zeba Yasmin, why call for protests? Why? Okay, you protest. You have every right to protest, but why burn trains? Why target children?
Samajwadi Party appeals to the youth to protest because it is your right. But yes, don't get involved in violation because it is gonna ruin your future for life. So Samajwadi Party doesn't support any kind of violence. It's a request not to do this. But if we talk about the scheme, like our BJP spokesperson said that at the age of 21, a child would be having, in life insurance of this much amount and this much amount to start with his new career. But let me update her that the age of 17 to 20 year is the most crucial year when you decide your career, when you set the direction of your career. But yes, at the time of 21, you will be in a lurch to... Let me complete. I will not participate in a debate when you will not let me complete.
Give her 30 seconds. Sanju, 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 give her 30 seconds. I'll give you...
Why 30 seconds? No, Sanju Verma already...
Wait, 1 minute. Yeah, I'm asking her to... Because... 1 minute. Sanju, give her time to respond. Sanju, give her time to respond. Sanju, I'm coming to you. Give her time to respond. She hasn't spoken. No, I'll give you full opportunity to respond to her. Let her speak. Yes, Zeba, complete your point.
Voluntary scheme. Nobody puts a gun to your head.
Let her complete a point. I'll let you respond. Go
I
ahead.
won't until she gets shut.
She's quiet. Please go on.
Yeah, I guess you have a mute option also to mute BJP.
No, we don't mute people. We don't mute people. Okay, let's focus on the subject. Let's focus on the subject. You know what? I don't want to. 1 second. Can we focus on the subject, please? Can we focus on the subject, please? Can we focus on the subject, please, Zeba? Can we focus on the subject, please? Thank you.
BJP spokesperson said earlier that we need not to discuss with the opposition. It's not only opposition, they never discuss with the voters also. BJP is in a behavior of giving shocks and surprises to people of India. Whether it is demonetization. Let me complete.
She's spoken for 10 seconds. Sanju, she's spoken for 10 seconds. Give her time.
They have never been able to justify it.
She's spoken for 10 seconds. Sanju, give her...
GST.
Okay, no personal. Okay, let's focus now. Come on, let's focus. Sanju, let her complete her point.
You lost 2017.
No, 1 minute. Sanju. This is not required. No, this is not required. Sanju, this is not required. I said give her some time to speak. Now she's walked off.
Can I come in?
Yeah, Patikrit, I'm getting in Patikrit now. Yes, Patikrit and Riju, please. Patikrit and Riju, please.
Niranjan, couple of issues. Number one, I'll be very technical about it. See, with due respect, the representative from Tamil Nadu and, Telangana, I just want to ask them that if you are so concerned, why is it that the state governments have not announced similar 10% reservation for those who will be retiring? Secondly, the biggest service that the armed forces is doing in this case is that since the recruitment will be tripled, the problem with rural India is lack of ability to get employed. There's lack of professional skills. There is a large repository of technical skills which will be actually, imbibed in them. And let me tell you, anybody who is working in the logistics department of the army or the navy, his requirement in the entire e-commerce industry is profound. I know it because I work in the industry. Secondly, it is so very important to understand the army is there to protect the nation. You have to change your entire structure, spend more on technology. It cannot be place for creation of employment, though I still believe it is a transitionary phase. You will see much more reform in this process coming. Eventually, many of the issues will be getting addressed. Eventually, you may find that it will be 8 to 10 years of service with far more benefits. But please give this time. Problem is when one day you want to burn out the country and say that, no, I am burning the country because...
Can I get Riju to respond because I'm running short of time? Can I get Riju to respond because I'm running short of time? I want to get all sides before that, yeah.
Yeah. I just want to be clear on one particular thing, that this project by the BJP is about cost cutting. They could have been transparent right from the get-go, that to maintain the army's budget or to import new things to protect our motherland, we are cost cutting. We are hiring people on a 4-year basis. That's all. Why they have to go with all these smokes and mirrors? It is a simple way where they said before the election, one rank, one pension. They don't want to give pension because of the huge budget of the pension. That is why they are getting a...
Okay, I'm getting in Sanju. Sanju, last word.
They could have come...
Let her respond to you, last word. I have to end the debate. Sanju, last word.
And secondly, that 25-75, I also want... And if you have reservations, if you have vacancies, why are you not recruiting people?
Okay, let her respond, Riju. Let her respond. Okay.
She has been responding from the first minute of your show.
Because all of you are asking her questions. That's why I'm getting her to respond.
You're not able to raise this man.
Because of her party and her shoddy policies, the country is burning.
Can we please continue with the subject? No, this is not required. You know, all of you focus on the subject. Please focus on the subject. You know,
they will do
1 minute. Focus on the subject.
Focus
on the subject.
Okay,
Riju, you asked her a question. Let her respond. Okay, let's focus on the subject. Okay, let's focus on the subject. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. Let's focus on the subject. Riju, you asked her a question. Let her respond.
To make it leaner, make it fitter. I want to ask you one thing, Niranjan. How is it cost cutting when you're giving 48 lakhs of insurance? How is it cost cutting when you're giving a lump sum package of 12 lakhs?
This is the army we are talking about. Sorry. This nonsense we are not going to buy.
Okay, I have to end the debate. See, this is what happens when you speak over each other. This is what happens when you speak over each other. I'm running out of time. Vikraman, I know you're raising your hand. I'm going to forward you the full details, Vikraman. This is coming your way so that you read a little bit. Please don't do that. Don't say things on TV, okay? It's very dangerous these days. You know, on other channels, they let you say whatever you want and get away with it. On Republic, I'll have to correct you. Thank you for that. Vikraman, I'm sending you some details, okay? Thank you for joining us. I'm running out of time. I have to take a break. Thank you, gentlemen.